Hello everyone, this is MrSovr with the revised version of Java programming tutorial number 1. Now, last time for the first time I did this, supposedly I didn't really zoom in correctly. It's a little hard to do when I'm doing my recording. I haven't tried it a couple times. So I just kind of shrunk the screen a little bit to where it's recording. Hopefully that works. I'm going to test it out. If it doesn't work, then I'll try to figure out something else that I can do to make it work. But for now, this is how it's going to kind of be like. So, first of all, welcome to Java Tutorial 1. If you have been rerouted from the original one, I'm sorry about that, but here we are going to be learning about objects, classes, and the basics of Java. I'm going to go a little bit in depth of what objects are and modifiers and stuff like that. It'll probably help a lot. So first of all, within a Java file, you basically have to have a class. A class is basically the Java file name, and it's good practice to keep it exactly the same as what the class is. So if you say capital H, hello, capital W, world, then you need to have the exact same thing for your class name. Now, you can only have one public class per Java file, and usually you can have in-class type of things, basically meaning that there's a private class somewhere. A lot of times GUIs or GUIs or graphical user interfaces use them for like buttons and action listeners and stuff like that. But for now, we have a public class, and that's all we're going to use. The class holds all the different methods, all the different objects, all the different code and functionality, attributes, arguments, everything. So now that we know what a class is, we might as well go over what modifiers are. Now, modifiers, public, private, default, and protected, are 4 different things. Now, what modifiers do is that they protect your code and secure it, because you don't want other classes or even other people to get access of your code. You want it to be private, and you don't want anyone to touch it. Anyways, most of the time, if it is public, it might interfere with another piece of code that you called in through an object, which we'll talk in a second. But if you have like a public variable and you have another public variable in a different class, they'll like intersect, and it will just not work. The code might not look as good, and it might even get to the point of an exception or a complete error. So that's why we always keep variables private, which means the private means that nothing outside of the class can access it. Now, public, meaning anything, as long as it's in the package. Well, actually, to think about it, anything can access a public. And as long as you like import it into your code, you can always access a public modifier-based method or class. Now, protected is a little interesting. Protected is like, basically, how would I say this? There's a thing called a package in Java. Package is the #1 security for your code. A package, whatever is inside your package, is basically your application, and every application has a package in Java. Now, let's just say we have the Hello World package. In this case, it's the default package that Eclipse, which is my IDE, a place where we program stuff, has a default one, so I don't have to worry about the package. But if you were programming through command prompt and stuff like that, well, you would have an editor and then a compiler of JavaC and all that, which I'll talk later, but not right now. Basically, you would write something like package, let's just say org.mrsovr.production. Or something like that. and that's basically what it'd be, but it would kind of screw up the code and stuff like that. So we understand what a public, a private, and the protected basically means that anything within the package has access to it. Anything outside of the package has no access. So it's like in between a public and a private in a way. Now default is not as, it's like in between a protected and a private basically. I don't really use defaults. I don't really see them as necessary, but I just usually stick with public, private, and protected. Okay, so we have the public class hello world, and then we have a variable, which is called an instance variable, the private static string saying. First of all, a few things I might as well get out of the way. Java is case sensitive, so if you have something like a capital S for saying and then a lower s for saying, they can be two different things. They would not collide with any interference or anything. But if you have, but just to let you know, you need to make sure you keep track of all of your capitalizations and stuff and make sure they match the certain variables you want them to match. So for example, if I say down here a capital S, it's going to come with an error saying, hey buddy, where is this saying with a capital S? I don't see it anywhere. And it even shows right here that it's not really even being used. It's just being assigned right here and stuff like that. So, well, I don't have to do that. So you have to have your capitalization equal to which variable you're referencing to. Same thing for objects, same thing for anything in Java. Even if the publics have a lowercase p, but if I had uppercase p, it would say, what the heck is that? I need to have a lowercase p. So that's basically what Java is with case sensitive. Another thing is every single line of code, except for methods and these curly braces, you need a semicolon at the end of your code, basically indicating that the line of code is done. Which is kind of funny because Java reads top to bottom, right to left, instead of left to right like we would with a book. But anyways, that tends to come more in a future conversation about this. So what we have here is, well, we didn't really go over too much of the instance variable. Private static string saying. Now first off, the static. Static is a very dangerous, it's sort of a bit like a modifier, but it's like a combination to a modifier. Static basically means that it's available. And that's why we also have the main method as static, because that's the start of the execution, which is always visible to Java itself, and then it goes through the code from there on. So in order to have saying work in here without creating an object of hello world, I have to have the static right here, meaning that it's always available throughout any part of the code. There's no privacy, no restrictions. Saying is always available. So we also have this thing called string with a capital S. String is technically an object, but string is is basically like a sentence, a paragraph. It's a combination of characters stored in one variable. Unlike char or something like that, but we don't have, wait. Yes, we do have char. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I was thinking for some reason C++ only had char. But Java does have char, which is a character. A character, the difference between a character and a string is that usually a string, for example, let me just write up a thing here. Uses quotations or double quotations for setting up a string, where a character uses single quotations. The single quotations mean a character, a double quotation means a string, which of course a string is a combination of characters, like a sentence or a paragraph, which is really great if you want to hold text and stuff like that. Characters are more for like, they can be used as like which key was clicked on the keyboard or something like that. So now that we are done with the instance variables, we move down to the very starting of our program where it gets executed. It is called public static void main. Now the strings and args we are going to ignore for a second because that's a little further on in the tutorials. But as you can see here, the public means that it's always available, and static means that it's like everywhere. So this is the most visible method in the whole entire section of your code, unless you have another public static method or variable, which can be dangerous in a way. So this main method, Java looks for this main method and it says, okay, this is where we start, right here. So it starts going in here, and it goes down the line. So we have saying equals hello world. This is assigning saying up here, which is now down here, to hello world. So saying is now hello world. Now I know you're not really going to see the actual execution of this program since I don't have the recording over it, but I can tell you right now, the print method, which I created down here, basically prints it in the console saying hello world. And it also says right here goodbye and this is cool. Now when it comes to making methods, all you just need to do is have a modifier. You can have an option of using static. I prefer not to, but in my second tutorial it kind of shows you how you don't need to use static and you can create objects and stuff like that. Which the second tutorial, the zoom is a little weird, but if you do 720p enlarge the video, you should be able to see it like a little bit. I'm really sorry about that. Hopefully this works. But anyways, moving on. A method has either a type of return. For example, this is void. The return type void means that it does not return anything. Now you can have int here, you can have double here, which are different types of variables. And int as an integer, so it would return a number or something like that. But for now, this is just a method that returns absolutely nothing. So the way that this works is that you have print right here with the parentheses and then saying being put in there. Saying will be transported from this part of the code all the way down to here and then be executed right in here. Now, how does saying go through the method into this? Well, there's a thing called string A. A is a local variable. A is only available when this method is active. So whenever there is a string passed on through this method, it's available within this code. It's not available here and it's not available anywhere except for only in here. Now on the other hand, saying, since it's private and static, is available anywhere within this class. If this was a public static, it would be available anywhere in the application, which is always not so good. So since saying turns into A through here, we can use this thing called system.out.println, the line as in the ln, which you would put the string variable A in there, printing out whatever you put in this print method. For saying it's hello world, this would be goodbye, this is cool. So that's basically how this program would work and would use this method to print out stuff through the console. There are different types of variables I should probably just go over quickly, like there's a double, there's an int, there's a float. Doubles, you can use decimals. Ints, you cannot use decimals. The difference between floats and doubles, I believe floats take up less memory than doubles, so it's good for like game development, stuff like that. But for now, this is basically it. I will try to do a third Java tutorial more about the behind the scenes type stuff This is sort of like a crash course type of thing, so if you want a really well explained, long explanation, I would prefer to maybe go to, I don't know, someone, let me see. I don't know, like, just go on the internet, type, kind of look around. If you have any questions, though, you can always comment on my videos and or email me. I don't know if my email address is up or anything like that, but personal messaging is always good. So make sure to like the video so other people can learn about Java, and also subscribe, which also supports me very much. Sharing the video on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus always helps also, which I always appreciate. Thank you for watching. This is MrSovr. Hopefully this video is a little better now, and don't forget to subscribe. See you later.